Hello, and welcome to Knights of the Night Actual Play Podcast. This D&D adventure, The Heretic, was written and run by your DM, Scott. And now, please enjoy episode 470, titled, I Don't Think Knowledge Ever Hurt Anybody. Actual play begins immediately.
Hello, I'm Scott, your Dungeon Master for tonight's D&D 5e adventure called The Heretic. With me tonight, starting on my right, are...
I'm Michael, playing Brother Byron, a human male acolyte using the Grave domain.
I'm Tom, playing Alder Rusha. I'm a male human cleric and a member of a family that has long served the goddess Amira.
I am Jim. I am playing Grodor. He is a weak, skinny male hobgoblin warlock from Thulgug, who is on a never-ending quest for knowledge and power.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm playing Marduk, a male half-orc fighter and new Fist of Amira.
I'm John, playing Melody of the Harmony family, and I am a mystic by way of convergent religion, anthropologist, theologian. I pray to a lot of different things. I'm kind of a cleric of everyone.
I'm Thomas, and I'll be playing Gabrielle d'Angelis. She's a human female paladin and a holy maiden on a mission from Amira.
All right, when last we left off last week, you had all performed your final test in your year-long training at the academy in the capital city of Temerity. The test was a test of combat, perhaps with a dash of diplomacy in, as well as a ogre was released into the arena and you did battle. Actually, you all did quite well and dispatched of the ogre quite easily, but did not kill it, allowed it to live, and eventually sought to have a conversation with it after it was defeated and brought to the lower levels of the amphitheater and questioned it about its background a bit and healed it, and then went on with the rest of your day, getting back to your dorm rooms and cleaning up after the battle, and getting ready to have a night of celebration in the city to highlight the fact that you are now Fists of Amira and are able to go on your first mission sometime soon, but you haven't got any instructions yet on what that is. So that's what occurred last time we played. This time I'm going to pick it up unless someone has something they would like to talk about specifically. I'm going to pick it up from the point that you got cleaned up and are heading to the Drunken Scholar, the bar that you're heading to celebrate with some of your classmates and instructors. Thanks.
Are there any rules or local laws about going into the city armed, or are we allowed to carry like a knife, or is it no weapons?
Generally speaking, the laws are no weapons, but you are now Fist of Amira, so I think you could test that theory if you wanted to. Or you could just go in standard attire.
I am arming myself with a handful of books from the library.
Okay.
And then once we get there, I'm going to find a quiet corner and sit and read.
Okay, I'll read a slight breakdown here of what happens, and then we'll go into the scene. The sun slowly sets in the west as you make your way from your dorm rooms at the academy through the twisting lanes of the stacks to the Drunken Scholar. Despite the looming uncertainty of impending war, the stacks are overflowing with pedestrians. The sound of buskers gradually increases as you work your way through the crowds to the next street corner. Young girls sell colorful cut flowers from large metal urns, while hawkers offer sweet meats and candied fruit to passers-by. You walk past bookbinders and candle shops, taverns and map makers, grocers and academic guild halls, bumping shoulders with a multitude of residents, visitors, students, instructors, pages, and apprentices. You round the final corner and see the rambling wooden structure that is near and dear to your hearts. A large painted sign of a passed-out scholar with a book resting over his head hangs above the establishment's double doors that are thrust open on this warm summer's eve. The golden glow of the interior, as well as the shouts of laughter and camaraderie, beckon you in like it has countless times before. So you guys move into the Drunken Scholar. It is a large establishment. It is probably half of a city block in size. There's a huge common room. It is the hangout for students and even some professors at the academy, and it's no different tonight. There's a boisterous crowd there. There are still empty tables that you could find to sit yourselves down at. The bar is 2 or 3 deep at this point, and the bartender, Rila, she's a half-elf. She's serving drinks as quickly as she can. Plates of dinner are being brought out by the various wait staff. And all in all, it's just a very chaotic, fun, merry evening starting off. What do you guys do?
Excuse me, my friends. I need a beer, and I will head towards the bar.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I will find a table that's large enough for all of us to.
I look
sit
over
at.
my shoulder and I'll get the first round. What does everyone want?
The usual.
Okay.
A
Dishwater.
pitcher of beer.
Perhaps that's what we'll start with, is just a pitcher, and then we'll work into something more appropriate as the evening takes us on. A couple pitchers and cups or flagons or whatever. We're passing for cups here.
Yeah, flagons sound good.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a table that's in a corner or against a wall as opposed to in the middle, just simply because I know for a fact that Grodor likes to be a little in private as opposed to the center of attention, and he probably will end up tucked into the actual corner reading a book as opposed to the rest of us. But is there a place somewhere along the wall?
Yes, there is. There is a long table against a wall that has some flagons and a couple of plates of finished food that haven't been removed yet, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's not being seated at or used at this time.
All right, so I point to it and give a quick whistle to try to catch Marduk's attention, and then when he looks, I point over at the table, and then we head that way. And before I even sit down, I just do what I did for quite a while, recently at least, at my dad's bar, which is just collect all the dishes, put them into a stack, put the nuggets on top of it, etc.
I thought you were going to say just sweep your hand across the table and knock everything on the floor.
No. It's more of a
Table flip.
It's more like a busboy cleaning up the table. And I look around, and is there a table nearby with someone that we know and we are somewhat competitive, or maybe they were trying to be the Fist and we beat them?
You definitely recognize faces from the academy. There's definitely quite a few students here tonight, and through trainings and other sessions and studies, you've seen some. None that you would say are out and out
competitive
enemies.
Yeah.
There is a group of hobgoblins sitting at one table. They are the reigning champions of Dragonfire, which is a nightly contest of who can do a beer and a shot that's dropped into it, that you try to out-drink them before losing your lunch kind of thing. It's just a fun college-type situation where they're the drinking champions of the bar. So if you're looking for anyone who might be a little bit of a competition, perhaps
not at all. I'm just looking for someone who occasionally I consider as being a jerk, or
sure, you can find somebody. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm just going to take this stack of plates and set it down in front of them, wink at them, and go thanks, and then turn around and go back to the empty table.
Piss off, they say back with almost a half smile too, because they're celebrating.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. What'd you say? The crowd's cheering. The crowd's cheering at me. I couldn't hear you. Sorry. And I just turn away and ignore them.
And they seem to actually laugh good-naturedly at it, even though it's it was a thing meant to annoy. It annoyed them, but they also laughed it off because it is your big day, and everyone in the academy knows that you guys have graduated today.
Plus, it was a minor inconvenience. It wasn't
a big deal. You can get a couple gallons of ale from the bar, Marduk, for about 4 silver pieces. If you're picking up the first round.
Yes, I'll ask them to a small keg of their stout or their ale and give them the 4 silver pieces, and I hold up my fingers showing flagons.
Okay.
Half a dozen. I believe in always having extra just in case.
Okay, so half a dozen flagons and 1 extra. All right, and Rila.
One out for Amira here.
There you go.
That's a good idea. Rila, she's actually the owner of the tavern and a barkeep. She's probably late 20s, so kind of young to be an owner. She also teaches at the academy in the Bard School. And she's got flaming red hair, is just very pretty, and she's quite...
Charismatic?
She's charismatic. She's also a bit flirty. So you definitely get a big smile, Marduk, from her. A big wink as she hands you over the keg. Big night to celebrate. Enjoy. You head back to the table with your drinks.
I give her 5 silver pieces. And then,
All right.
Head on back, but I don't respond to her flirtations since I don't understand them.
So you get back to the table, and you guys pour yourself a nice stout drink. As I said, it's pretty crowded. There's a side room where there's a constant set of tables with dice, and there's a game called Holy Bones, which is a dice game that a lot of people play, usually for gambling, small amounts of money, and for just fun. So there's some Holy Bones going on in like a offshoot of the main tavern area. There's a large dwarf who takes all comers in arm wrestling. His name was Borin Silvervein. So he's sitting at a table, and every once in a while a student will get up enough courage or get drunk enough to go up and do some arm wrestling and compete against him. He very rarely loses, but again, a contest of coin if you wish. There is room upstairs where there's a game of darts called King's Rings that are played up there. It's a little quieter on the upper level. There's a balcony that kind of, like a big balcony, that overhangs the bar area itself. But up there's these rings that you throw darts into. Again, another way to make some money or to play a game of skill if you wanted to. And then I had mentioned earlier that there are Turgent's Tankards, which are the local hobgoblin students who are the reigning champions of Dragon's Fire, which is a contest of wills when it comes to drinking and holding down your liquor. So there's some games you can be involved with if you want to be. You don't have to be by any stretch of imagination. It can just be a fun night of celebration and drinking. You know that you are due at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 bell, in the offices of the High Preceptor to learn what comes next after you graduate tomorrow. So that might weigh into how drunk you want to get tonight and how much fun you want to have, but it might not as well. It might just be a night to blow off the steam of a year's worth of study and work and sweat and tears and blood.
As we pass the keg around and I'll fill up everyone's glass, and I will hold it up and offer a toast to our successful test and finding another way than just having to kill that poor monster.
I would like to say to all of you that I am proud to be a Fist of Amira, but I am more proud to be part of this particular squad. All of you did amazing work tonight. Cheers.
You're here.
You're here.
I reach over and tip Grodor's mug even higher as he's like sipping it, so he gets more in his mouth. Because it's going to be my job to fuck him up tonight.
Oh. Wow,
All right.
What a friend you are.
Just to be clear, I take a small sip and put the glass down on the table.
All right. As time passes, you get a steady stream. I'm talking about maybe a half hour, so nothing major. No major time being passed here, but a steady stream of well-wishers come by and clasp you guys on the shoulders, friends that you've made throughout your year at the academy, teachers, instructors who are out for the night come by and welcome you, whether it was the head of a divination school who might have taught the clerics or the paladins in some manner of learning, whether it's a militant teacher who took up arms to train you how to fight the best you can fight. All of them are coming by to offer their well wishes. Some of them are dropping off shots or other small things, like, again, one of the treats from outside, a sweet meat or a candied fruit or something along those lines. Just everyone's trying to give you well wishes for graduating from the academy.
Did you have a question, Marduk?
I was just thinking, I'm smart enough to know my limit, but I may not have the willpower to stop because everyone is feeling so good.
We do have an appointment tomorrow morning. You know that, right?
Agreed.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Afternoon, my friend. It is 1. Plenty of time to sleep off the worst of...
However, I do feel I would like to go to the good dwarf Borin and perhaps try my hand at arm wrestling that champion over there, so If you'll excuse me, I'm going to try my luck.
Okay, but wait a minute. Let me do something that may help you a bit. I get up and walk over to a table where Stefan is sitting, and he is like the biggest dude that I've ever met within the academy. And I know also that he tends to drink a little, so he'll be easy to manipulate. And say, Stefan, I have a bet going on over here with my friends. And it's with you against Borand, the dwarf. I'm pretty sure that if anybody can beat him, it's you. And I'm even willing to give you a silver piece to prove me right. Come on, my friend. Give it a shot.
Oh, I don't know. I've tried several times to take Boren down, and he always beats me. He always takes me down.
But don't you see, I just saw him fighting somebody. And he looks a little tired, if ever before. This is the time you can do it. And I roll a persuasion roll. I rolled a 16, plus my 4 is 20.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to make a roll for Stefan. Yeah, he rolled a 3. So,
you don't need to tell us that, but yeah, it's quite clear that
he's had a couple, so he feels like he can go ahead and do that. So yeah,
but you got to give it the most, the hardest that you've ever done before. Really, really put yourself into it. I know you can do it.
Oh, thanks for the confidence, man. I'll give it a shot. I'll do it. And he goes over and approaches.
I walk back to the
Boren's
table. I walk back to our table and I say, Marduk, let him tire out Boren a little bit, and then you should have a better shot at it.
And about 3 minutes later, you're kind of watching from your location. They talk for a bit, Stefan and Boren. Stefan puts some money down on the table. Boren does the same on his side, puts the money in the middle, and then they go at it. And for a few seconds, Stefan takes the lead. He pushes Boren down a bit on his side, but Boren holds the line about a quarter of the way down, and then slowly but surely, inevitably, Boren keeps going, and takes Stefan down. And Stefan is dejected, and he's a big oaf, but in a good way. So he's like patting Boren on the shoulder and thanking him for beating him, and basically just being a good oaf that he is.
While it had been going on, I went over to Stefan's table, took his mug, filled it with some of our beers, ready when he comes back, and I'm like, dude, it was so close. I saw you. You had it.
I had him for a bit.
Here, this one's on me, buddy. And I hand him the full
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. And he drinks it and goes back to his group, but he seems genuinely appreciative of your kind words and your motivation to get him to give it another shot.
My intent was to give Marduk an advantage on the roll here.
Right. So, Marduk, do you make your way over to Boron at this point?
Of course, I do. I saunter up to him, confident. I don't know if this would be intimidation, but I want to kind of have that friendly but competitive challenge. But I'm not trying to like actively intimidate him, but I want to be like almost like a confident intimidation.
Gotcha.
Like, okay, let's go.
He smiles.
My turn, Boren. My turn.
How good you feeling tonight?
The best day he's ever had.
Today's a good day. Today's a good day to arm wrestle.
Is that a gold piece feeling good? Or half a gold piece feeling good?
Let's build up to that. I just graduated today, Boren, and I've already spent my week's pay on the drinks, but...
I flip a gold piece to Marduk. This one's on me. I have faith in you.
Excellent. So I square off, take a little opportunity to flex the forearm a little bit, size them up, get into position.
Okay, what is your strength?
My strength is 17.
All right, you get advantage on your check because of your strength. So does he. So you're both rolling with advantage. And what happens is, every time you win a strength check, you get someone 25% of the way towards the side that you're trying to win, your side.
Okay.
If you win by 5 or more points, you get them 50% of the way towards your victory. So that's how it plays out. He puts a gold on the table, you put a gold in the middle of the table, he puts his arm out and says, "May the best dwarf win," and waits for you.
I look at the group and say, no casting. No casting.
So I begin.
All right, roll your skill with advantage.
I rolled on strength and I get a 17.
All right, he rolls. He rolled an 8 and an 11. 17 is more than 5 higher than 11, his highest roll. So you immediately, right off the bat, have him halfway
Out of the gate.
canvas, right out of the gate. Now roll again.
I rolled a 13 and a 14, so the 14 stands with... Oh, I'm sorry, did I still roll with advantage that time?
Yes, you continue
Okay.
with advantage because of your strength.
Then I had a 14.
He rolls a 6 and an 8.
Wow.
14 is more than 5 higher than 8. You get another 50% of the way down, and you take him down. He cries out in surprise and anger that he got bested so unbelievably quickly. And the 2 gold pieces are yours. He's rubbing his wrist and muttering underneath his breath right now.
And to be clear, I was standing on the other side of Boren, watching the whole time, but also, like, mentally giving him the advantage. He's flanked. You could do this.
Right.
So, I smile, I stand up, I bow, thank you for the challenge, sir, and take the gold.
Make sure you come back again.
I will.
All right.
We head back to the table, and I high-five him, and then put an arm around his shoulder and give him a pat. Well done. Impressive.
Congratulations, Marduk. You are officially an excellent dwarf.
So I give Alder back his gold. Thank you for the steak, my friend. And I turn to the rest of the group, and this is for our next round.
You think you wore him down enough that I could take him?
We all laugh.
It's a good laugh around the table, a hearty laugh that everyone has. At this point, everyone make a perception check, please. The crowd is generally getting louder and louder, and the evening is progressing as the beer flows and the laughter continues to increase.
Roder.
Wow.
He's
There's
got
some
a good,
crazy high rolls here.
got a good eye to the whole room.
Everyone go ahead and announce their rolls just for the listeners.
Brother Byron rolls a 23. 19 plus 4.
Nice. Okay, great.
Yeah, Grodor got a natural 20, which equaled 22.
All right. That's an automatic success, too, because it was a natural 20.
Mel got a 20.
Gabrielle rolled an 18 flat because she's got no wisdom.
She's got no perception.
Our Duke rolled an 18. That's a 16 plus 2.
All right. And then
And-
Alder.
Alder rolled a 4, a 2 plus 2, and his mind is clearly somewhere else at this moment. As the night goes on, he's getting a little more distracted.
All right. Well, this is a case where everyone, except Alder, would it be fair to say, Alder, that the other members of this Fist of Amira group has met any of your family? Or is that
Yes.
something that they have not? Okay, they have met?
Yes, actually, Gabrielle has, and I believe Melody has, because they are both members of this city and have lived here quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And even before we entered the academy, they had met members of my family. And they know a bit of my history. The one thing they know is my dad has recently bought a bar about a year ago, and he's also he tends to drink too much. And that's where my mind is right now, is I'm worried about, is this another one of those nights when things didn't go well?
Right.
Because,
Well, this is a case where everyone, including those who might not know your dad or your sister or your brother, noticed the fact that they have walked into the bar. Your dad has his eyes downcast and he's unshaven. His clothes look like he's been slept in for a couple days in a row. And he's carrying something in his hands. Your young sister is there, bright-eyed and smiling like she always is. And your brother, tall, handsome, with your mom's eyes, which you both love and hate about him, wearing his priest's garments and a sour expression on his face. They're all kind of staring at the back of your head while you don't notice them, and everyone else notices them walk into the bar.
so if they're staring at the back of my head, you're...
Your back is to the door. Well, some people are as well, but they kind of turned around and were taken in the room, and everyone notices these three people kind of... It's not like the whole bar has gone silent, but they certainly are out of place. A priest, an older rough-looking man and a young girl. It's not the clientele
A
that's
priest,
normally
an
here.
old man, and a young girl walk into a bar.
Yeah.
Right.
Does our perception of his family walking in, do we detect if they're hostile, like the way they're looking at Alder, or do we just roll to notice them that they came in?
I would say if you want to make an insight roll, you can, an insight check, to see if you can read their body language.
Well, I'm imagining that somebody pointed him out, and then everybody's like, "Hey, look, is that whoever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it looks like it could be his family." And then
Right.
my guess is if they're looking over toward us, I would motion them over,
Okay.
Oh, 20.
regardless to whether or not they're looking actually for Alder or not. I'm probably going to motion them over just out of common courtesy.
Okay.
Gabrielle would like to know what kind of attitude the father's approaching with, because it could be congratulations, in which case she's going to call attention to it, or it could be not, in which case you might want to avoid this confrontation.
Fair enough. And you had asked as well, Marduk, so do you want to roll an insight as well?
Yes, but I probably don't notice anything with an 11.
Okay. Not anything refined or fine-tuned. I would say, Gabrielle, you probably know or see different... each one of them is different.
Yeah.
The sister looks excited. The father looks sheepish. And the brother looks put off. But none of them look like they have ill intent.
Right,
They just...
no bad
different-
confrontations.
Right. Doesn't look like it anyways.
So I'll say, Alder, your family has come to congratulate you, and I turn him around to...
Really? I turn around to...
And sure
Yeah.
enough, they are standing there. All three of them. Not standing there, they're actually making their way because Grodor had motioned them towards the table. So they were kind of hovering in the middle of the room, looking from table to table to try to find you. And when they caught Grodor's eye and he waved them over, at that point they're making their way towards the table.
Yeah, so I stand and turn to face them. I am primarily looking at Alinda and smiling at her because she's smiling and she always
Right. Oh, yeah.
smiles.
So they approach you, and it's your brother actually who speaks first, at least. And he says, "Is there a table or somewhere we could talk? Dad wanted to see you tonight." Yeah, anyways, we
need privacy?
well, I
Can
don't
you
know
talk
if you
here?
want to do it in front of all your friends. It's not a big deal, but...
Things that
maybe a little.
usually involve you, Cordell? No, I don't. Let me check. Hold on. I asked Rila if she has a private room that I could borrow for a few minutes. I know you have a couple rooms for card playing and whatnot. Is there any
Yeah,
remote
and
right now I can
there
borrow?
is actually. There's no one's playing 5 Dragon Ante tonight, so the card tables are actually open so far this night, so you can actually get one that's kind of behind the bar, a little bit more off to the side, and is definitely doable.
Is this just one of them pulling him away, or are all 4 of them going to
All-
talk?
It looks to you like all 4 of them are going to go off to talk, his 3 family members and Alder himself.
Alder, do you need time by yourself, or do you want someone here to help you out? Or back
No,
you
it's family. I'm okay.
up? Okay.
Thank you, though.
And as soon as they start walking off to the meeting, Grodor goes up to the bar and asks for 3 or 4 drinks to their table.
Be sent to their table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know how long they're going to be there, and I didn't want them. If they leave before they get the drinks, we'll drink them at our table.
Go ahead and make an insight check really quick again, Grodor.
Not very insightful. today.
Okay. 4 beers ordered. So
Maybe I'll take them up there just so I can be nosy. Like, not
Right.
intentionally nosy, but just in case you need me, back up nosy.
that sounds good. And 4 drinks will be like 1.5 silver for the 4 drinks
I got
that you order to take it off your amount that you have. And you go ahead and deliver. And I'm going to say, just for the sake of expediency, she pours the drinks pretty quickly, and they're still kind of seating themselves and getting comfortable, and they haven't really gotten in anything good by the time you get there. You put
That's
the 4
fine.
drinks down on the table, and you
When-
want to say something, Alder?
Yeah, when he sets down the 4 drinks, I pick up the one in front of me and hand it back to Grodor and say, "Take this back to the table for me, please."
Gotcha.
And when he starts to walk away, I reach over, grab my dad's, and slide it in front of me.
Okay, Byron's just going to be watching the hallway to make sure they don't get disturbed.
Okay. Your father looks to you to be sober, and you can tell that because he's actually shaky. his hands are shaking. So he was actually reaching towards the beer when you took it away, but it looks like he was reaching to push it away as opposed to drink it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's unshaven. He looks like he's probably just coming off of a bender. And for the first time, because you were so taken aback and so just struck by the fact that they showed up here. I mean, you've talked about this place before, and it just really is unexpected that they would be here. But your dad, kind of half mumbling, says, just want to say I'm really proud of what you accomplished today. And your mom would be really proud of you, too. And I thought that you might want to take this because she would want you to have it. And the thing that he was carrying, which you didn't really pick up on because of your perception roll, was he's carrying your mother's rapier. And it's sheathed in a nice sheath. And it was, her pride and joy.
Yeah, that's what she taught me to fight with. That's why I fight with a rapier.
And Alinda bounces up and down like in her chair, like she's so excited when Garrett, your father, hands it across the table to you. She like barely can contain herself. She's so excited. She's like, I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of you. I'm going to be a Fist of Amira someday too.
Yeah, I know you will. You have the skill. There's no doubt about it. And Father, thank you. I was being solemn while I glanced at my father, but of course, every time Alara starts talking and her excitement is just feeds into me. It's just something that changes my mood. And turned towards my brother and said, I'm sorry, Cordell. I didn't mean to outrank you. It's not what I intended to do. I have other reasons.
He looks at you again with those eyes that are absolutely your mother's. And he says in a strained voice, congratulations. I thought you actually had to be a true believer in Amira to become one of her fists, but...
Listen, let's not get into that discussion here.
No. Well, let me just say, maybe you can stop chasing ghosts and focus on a real mission to help our country now. We need it, and
wouldn't
you're obviously good.
Coming back be a good mission to focus on?
Talking a little closer to home with chasing ghosts. We all know that she's gone, and you should take her sword and just do something good. And he pushes his chair back. He hasn't even touched his beer. And he walks away. And Alinda just rolls her eyes. Like, it's hard to even be too pissed at the moment because she's 14 and she is just exuberant. And she just rolls her eyes and is like, shakes her head.
Yeah, I was definitely rolling my eyes as well. But then when I see her doing it, I again start smiling and then I chuckle a bit. And go, Father, again, thank you. I really appreciate this.
I want you to have it. And I know, again, she would want you to have it. And go make the family proud. And be careful.
That is my intent.
I can't lose you, too.
I stand up, and when he does, I give him a hug. And then I whisper to Alinda, get him out of here. He doesn't really need to hang out here.
She's like, she nods her head, and she's like, but could you tell Father to hire me a proper swordsmanship trainer? Old Mr. Wilby has nothing left to teach me. I can disarm him in like 2 seconds. Can you tell him that we need to get someone decent because I'm not learning anything anymore?
I'll tell you what. I'll hire someone for you. I know that Dad struggled.
Did you hear that, Dad? She's excited and pulling on his sleeve of his shirt, trying to get his attention. And he smiles and he pats her head with his shaking hand.
I know, Dad, you struggle with the howling wolf, and it's sometimes difficult. But I guarantee you my wages are going to go up, and I can definitely afford it. So, Alinda, yeah, I know a couple people that are quite good. And I'll see which one of them can train you. Although, I don't know. You're pretty good right now. I don't know. I'll have to find somebody really good.
She smiles, looks up at you, and just, boom, like falls into you with a big super hug with both arms around your waist, giving you a gigantic hug. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I give her a squeeze and then a kiss on the top of the head. take him home.
Yeah, Cordell and I will get him back home. I'm sure he's probably just waiting outside in the street. We'll get him back home, and yeah, so have a good night, and congratulations, and I'm super proud of you, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
Okay, and
I am definitely in a much better mood now because my entire evening was, I've got to go check on my dad. I've got to make sure he's not hurt or drunk. That's why I had to save one of my healing spells because he's been getting so incredibly drunk that sometimes he's damaging himself, and just the fact that he's at least sober now, that makes me happy, and I always am happy when I see Alinda.
Right. Yeah, how couldn't you be? And I'm assuming you're making your way back to your table at this point?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you've got half of your beer left remaining. Alinda didn't really touch hers that much. Cordell didn't touch his as well, so there's quite a few ales left remaining that you can bring back to the table with you.
Grab Cordell's, I pour Alinda's into mine, and just carry the two back to the table.
Right. Yeah, she had a little, but not a super lot. She doesn't drink too much for obvious reasons. She needs to look after your father, and she's also worried about what's happening with him, and could it happen to her. She's expressed a little bit of uncomfortableness to you on a couple of occasions around
She's
a lot
probably
of
the
alcohol.
most mature of the family.
She probably is. The buzz is getting pretty good right now. It's a good buzz. At this point, it's been about an hour so far into the evening. Again, it's a festive weekend night. The beers are flowing and food is flowing, although you haven't had yourselves a proper dinner as of yet, but...
When I come back to the table, I'm holding 2 beers. Grodor, I appreciate that, but I put one down on the table, and then the other one I said, turns out I can stay here and have a good night. I hold up the beer again. Thank you all, my friends.
Cheers.
Cheers. Clink glasses, and I down one entire glass
Right there.
in one go. Set it down and pick the other one up. Now, how about some good food to go along with this drink? Anyone?
I'm always up for good food.
Waving my hand towards the bar, seeing if we can get someone to come over here.
Yes, one of the servers comes by, and the menu item for this evening is a leg of roast chicken, some new potatoes, and it's the end of summer, so how about some strawberries?
All right. I order all that.
That would be 3 silver piece per person for the meal. Kind of splurging a bit, you're not eating your typical dorm room rations that you get for free at the academy. You're splurging on a big meal tonight in this nice establishment.
I don't know that he's ordering one per person.
I thought he was. Are you?
Yeah, more than one per person. I want there to be too much food rather than not enough.
Well, you have to remember that you also have sweetmeats and candied sweets at the table as well that people have been dropping off as congratulations for your...
Yeah.
So you have food on the table.
But honestly, we could take it back to our dorm and maybe eat it later and whatever. I give 2 gold pieces to cover it. The rest of it is as a tip. And as we're sitting at the table waiting for the food, I draw out the rapier just to show Marduk, and I ask Grodor, he's like, never knew if this thing was magical. Is there any way you can tell? Look at this blade, Marduk. Look at this. And it's a very elegant, very special, perfectly weighed, incredibly wonderful rapier.
Ooh. I don't think I have any spells that could detect that yet.
Incredibly wonderful.
But this is the night that you just lie to me.
Well, I can say it. It does have a certain glow. If you look at it in the light.
Melody picks it up and slaps it on the side of the table to make it ring. She goes, "You hear that?" No, I can't hear it. It's too loud here, but it's real good. I think it's magic.
Alder is chuckling.
Fine-looking weapon.
Thank you. It was a gift from my father, and it was what my mother used to use.
And use out here, huh?
Yeah, indeed.
You do know that the blade has been, you're not sure if it's magical or not. Your mom never talked about any magical properties, but she did say that it was silvered. It had been dipped and silvered and yet retained, sharpened to retain its pointy edge. So it is a silvered weapon, which are expensive to come across, and from your classes at the academy, there are some creatures that can only be affected by silvered weapons. There's that at least.
I take it back, glance at it, run my fingers along into make
You gonna cut the chicken when it comes here?
You don't cut with a rapier? Come now.
Oh, I forgot.
And I slide it back into the...
But clearly I could see that.
All right, so dinner comes, and it is tasty. And Rena comes to your table to check and see. She doesn't normally come to your table in an evening when you're at the Drunken Scholar having a fun night out from your studies, but I think
we're not just anybody.
Yeah, it's an unusual night, so she comes by and lets you know that the next keg is on her, and she's very proud of you guys, and it's an amazing accomplishment. Says something flirty along the lines of, I hear that the Fist of Amira can get it whenever they want. She just makes a fun little flirty comment and has another keg delivered to your table after visiting.
I think you mean a pitcher? A keg?
An actual keg, yeah.
Wow.
It's a little
one of those mini keg?
Like a pony keg or a small.
Yeah, mini keg. Not a whole.
Because I had a keg delivered to work today, and I was going to say.
No, not like that. A mini keg that could probably pour somewhere along the lines of 10 to 12 drinks. So maybe like 2 beers per person. She just sets it on the side of the table, and you guys just fill them up as you go throughout the night. Yeah, so there's much merriment. This is an academy bar in a sense, like it's very much frequented by members of the academy. On most nights, that's not a big weekend night of celebration. You can find an actual nook or cranny where you can study with a book like Grodor had intended to tonight. But on a weekend night when you're celebrating the coronation, if you will, of the Fist of Amira, it's raucous. But it usually doesn't descend into brawls like you'd think in a today's type of sense, like a college bar where there's a lot of brawls. There's really not a lot here.
I was thinking more along the line of almost a police station, and then there's a bar nearby that all the policemen go to.
Much camaraderie to breed violence?
Occasionally, somebody may get a little too drunk and pick a fight with somebody.
Yeah, it's not like it'll never happen.
But it's not like a whole barroom brawl. It's 2 guys who just had too much in the corner.
Right, exactly. So that's kind of the atmosphere. It's very festive. There's drinking games going on. There's dice games going on. There's dart games going on. Eventually, there's some card games going on, and in the separate rooms that are a little more high stakes than the other types of entertainment. And the evening continues on at a nice pace. And there's a bard that is present that can occasionally be heard over the raucousness of the bar. But there's a bard from the college, Lorenzen Red. You've all met him before because he performs quite often at the Drunken Scholar. And he specializes in ancient ballads. And he's a human with black hair. He ties it back in a ponytail. He's probably in his late 20s. And he works with a teenage illusionist named Bryn, who, she's kind of awkward, but maybe kind of cute in a bookish sort of way with her glasses. She creates illusions. She goes to the illusionist school at the academy, and she creates illusions that kind of mixes with his ballads, and they put on a good show. So every once in a while, people will actually quiet down and the raucousness dies down as they perform a number. They do a number tonight that harkens back to the creation of the Mithril Vales outside of your city. Amira's battles that she fought during that time, and it's just an ancient tale with much heroics and a very good story. And the illusionist is, for being as young as she is, she's top notch and does a fantastic job of manipulating these illusions to help him tell the story. And when it's over, Lorenzen actually walks up to your table and congratulates everyone, which he hadn't done yet up to this point. But it was his second intermission of the night. He does 3 on a typical evening. He ends up standing or sitting next to you if he's invited to sit down, Melody. For some reason, he's always just talking to you about his ancient ballads and about the past and about different cultures that are involved in his ballads. So you've kind of struck up a little bit of a friendship with him.
Yeah. I think I'm high on the horse tonight, though. I'm like, you won't live long enough to tell stories like these. We're about to make some.
He's like, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear your stories when you come back to visit. And I'll be sure. I don't just, you know me, I like to write them as well as sing them. So I'll definitely write some ballads for you and some stories when the time comes. So I know great things are ahead for you guys. Do you like have a minute?
Yeah, we could step aside for a minute. I top off Grodor's drink and say, now put down the book for a minute. I want you to have a good night tonight. I know it might be a while before we see the library again, but you have to have at least one night where you take your nose out of that.
I'm all about the food, not about the drink.
Well, we got that too. You know, a little bit of one, a little bit of the other. It's a fun time.
So just to be clear, is Grodor just sipping at his ale and trying to nurse like one or two of them throughout the night? Or is he drinking and actually having some fun and kind of like letting her help him have a fun night? Or is he resistant to that?
No, it's his friends. It's a special night, so he's...
Okay, that's good.
Less of the books and more of the drinking food.
Or fists now. I guess fists can't read so well, but, you know, we're going to have plenty we can bring out with us when we leave. So, hold on a second. I got to go meet this guy. Hold on.
All right. Lorenzen kind of leads you to a quieter place upstairs where there's some games of King's Rings, which is the dark game that is going on up there. And it's much more subdued, although you get a lot of the noise from the lower level does tend to float upwards, but it's not as noisy as being on the main floor. And he finds a little nook, a balcony that overhangs the street where you can kind of talk in private. And if everyone would mind taking a couple minutes, this probably won't be more than 3 or 4 minutes.
Gotcha.
Okay, fine.
So Lorenzen, he's holding a beer that he has from earlier in the night. Mm-hmm. And he's like, man, things are going to change now, aren't they?
I've been out of the city before. Yeah, it'll change.
Things are going to change for sure. And he's someone that just let you know, you've let your hair down a little bit around him about some of your beliefs. I mean, not all in.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
not a little bit heretical.
Yeah, like around the edges a bit.
But...
He doesn't know about unified theory, basically, the unified Amira theory, but he knows enough to get it. He knows that there were other times, there's other ages of this country, the state that you live in, where worshiping was bigger and better, was more involved. Now it's kind of, you know, with her disappearing, there's a lot of doubt and there's a lot of shaken people who don't know what to believe right now. And that's kind of what you were talking about one night when you started exposing him to a couple of your theories. But
yeah,
he looks down a couple times at his shoes, like you could tell he's having a hard time getting started. He's just making small talk, and you know he didn't call you up to the balcony to make small talk. So he struggles a little bit more. He's like, well, so, okay, I got some news that I need a favor. Do you think you can help me with a favor?
I mean, we got an assignment tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going, but...
No, that's it. Actually, that's it.
Okay. So you got heads up?
Yeah, you're going to be heading south. I have some contacts that have some information, and you're going to be heading south, and you could do me a favor, and I could pay you. Both of us would be really happy. What do you think about that?
I mean, like, I'm into all of that. It depends on the favor, you know?
Sure.
I don't doubt you're up to anything bad or whatnot, but am I going out of the way here? Am I going to, like, lose... I just got a new job? You heard about that? So I might lose that job, but, like, well, what do you offer?
Well, it's just that I have someone that I kind of have a contact, or someone that I kind of know or work with or for. You know, things have been kind of tight since the war rumblings have gone on, and, like, caravans are being searched, and it's really hard to get things from point A to point B without too much. The Soul Guard is all over the place, and they're searching all shipments and stuff. And anyways, my contact thought that maybe you guys being Fists of Amira, you might be in a situation where
likely to be searched.
You're not really going to be searched with where you're heading. And he has this thin box, like an oversized book, and he's got some scrolls in there that he wants to get to the city of Tarask. And all he's looking for you to do is take these scrolls with you down to Tarask and give them to the caravan owner at the caravansary down in Tarask that you're going to. That's all you have to do. You just deliver some scrolls.
That's a long trip. I just want to make sure when I can see more than 3 letters at a time. Is it cool if I pore over these? Is this a secret? What's going on?
Oh, they're definitely secrets. it's scrolls that are kind of important to him, the contact, and it's going to be a locked box that you'll be traveling with, so you can't really pore over them. But
I thought these would be library articles. I know some of the stuff the orcs get up to, and I thought that maybe there was some whatever.
I think they might be spells even.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, you don't need to tell me more. It's locked, right?
It's a locked box.
Yeah.
And
let's not get into it because I don't want to know too much. If the secrecy is important, don't tell me too much.
Okay, I don't know what's inside of it. I don't know what these scrolls are. I just know that he's willing to pay 200 gold pieces to have this box delivered, no questions asked.
I mean, okay. Yeah, I don't think knowledge ever hurt anybody. I can share that.
Okay, great. Wow, thanks. I really appreciate it. I was so worried you're going to say no. Yeah, so I'll stop by your dorm. I'm sure you're not going to be leaving by tomorrow morning, right?
No, I mean, we get the assignment. Clearly you know more than I do at this point, but we're going to have to gear up. Yeah, it's a thing. So I'll stop by.
Yeah, I'll stop by yours, actually. I'll stop by your place.
I'll make a stop. That's what I mean. Like,
okay.
I won't leave town without, it's all good.
Great. Okay, great. Just to be clear, it's $100 to pick it up. When you deliver it safely, it's another $100 from the owner of the caravansary down in
We don't deal in paper currency. This is gold.
Right. Well, it's actually going to be, I'm going to be able to hand over, I think, platinum to keep it kind of smaller, so it's not a big, huge sack of...
Yeah, 10.
It's inconspicuous then. So, 10 platinum. I'll have it tomorrow with me when I drop off the box.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, I got to gear up for my next session. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Have a good night. Congratulations.
Thanks. Kind of looks vacantly for a minute after the dude leaves, tries to, sober a minute, because that was, try to deal with some shit while you were drunk, and it was yeah, I'll do that, okay.
Yeah.
And then...
What did I just agree to?
Thought to it for a minute and said, yeah, okay, and heads back downstairs.
Okay. Speaking to everyone else that obviously stayed back to drink and continue eating and the merriment of the night, is anyone doing anything when
before
Melody goes upstairs?
I'm going to bring some news back.
Yeah. Kind of like while she's gone, does anyone have anything they want to do while she's away?
Byron's going to take a step outside and look around and see if he can find any beggars or people who look down on their luck.
Okay.
And redistribute some wealth.
Okay.
As the evening goes on, I start very happy once my family left. And then when I start realizing I'm drinking a little too much, I start getting more and more quiet and subdued unless anyone else is interacting.
Okay. Anyone else?
I feel like I should interact with Alder.
I'm kind of going the opposite way of Alder. It's quiet when I started, and as I'm getting and I didn't tend to drink. I tended to have fun and drink a little bit more than I usually do. But since he has a low body weight, it hit him harder than he thought. So now he's getting louder and more social than he usually does, which is unusual for anybody's ever never done this before.
Right. Grodor's actually being fun.
Pace yourself, Grodor.
I'll find a moment to talk to Alder. What are your plans for the future? What are you going to do? Fist of Amira. We got there. The goal's accomplished. What
we did.
What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to do the missions.
Leave the city finally?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's probably what we're going to end up doing. They send the Fist out to do things, don't they? And I'll do my job. But there are some things I want to find out about the system.
Yeah, our system here is a little corrupted.
I trust all of you more so than I trust the system, most definitely.
Authority flows from Amira in almost every position. Where do you think the corruption? No.
But Amira's gone, isn't she?
She's quiet. I don't think that means she's gone.
Just those in power tend to find a way to help themselves, most assuredly when the ones above them are quiet or missing.
When she's quiet, you have to look for her messages yourself.
But as the Fist, we're going to be commanded to do things, and those things might be something that didn't necessarily come from Amira.
Sure. But
do you have
there are darker times ahead. I think our actions will be used for good. Sorry, what were you saying?
Do you have a specific fear, Alder?
A good question.
I don't have a specific one. I just have concerns, and I'd like to learn more, that's all.
Then I suggest we be vigilant.
All
Well,
virtues.
Marduk, I have your back, and I assume you have mine.
You don't need to assume, sir.
I raise my glass
To vigilance.
to watching out for each other.
All right, taking Brother Byron outside, you step out into the street. The Marble Quarter is on a hill. It gives a pretty good view if you walk to certain points along the main street where you can see other sections of the city from this hill. So you walk out into the street, and if you'd be kind enough to make a perception check, I would appreciate it.
Roughly what time of night is it?
You probably got here around, it's late summer, so it'd be like 8:30, and it's probably closing in on 10:30 at this point, maybe 11.
Okay.
This latitude, is that sunset? Gloaming?
Gloaming was around 8:30 at this latitude
Okay.
for late summer. So, Brother Byron, what did you roll?
I rolled a 15 for perception, 11 plus 4.
Okay, as you're walking away from the Drunken Scholar, you notice that Melody and Lorenzen appear, oblivious to noticing you, out on a balcony that hangs out over the street. There's two of them that hang out over the street. They're smaller, and they step out onto the balcony. They both have drinks in their hands, and they're talking relatively quietly because they don't need to worry about the boisterous noise from the bar at this point out on the balcony. So they're talking in a little bit more normal tones. Just wanted to bring that to your attention as you walked outside. Do you continue to walk looking for beggars or people who are less well off?
Yeah, I might slow down a minute just to see what the deal is, but I'm not going to stick around and listen.
Okay. Then you see them having what looks to be, let's tell you what, make an insight check, please.
Rolled a 14.
Okay. It looks like Lorenzen is uncomfortable, and it looks like Mel is smiling and putting her hand on his shoulder, and like she's really comfortable around him, and he seems like he's uncomfortable about something, is what you can get from without listening, just based on body language.
Okay.
And then,
smile to myself and keep looking.
so you walk down the street, and this, again, being the Marble Quarter and being the stacks in particular within the Marble Quarter, there's not a strong beggar quotient because it's one of the better neighborhoods, and usually the Soul Watch, who are the city guardsmen, will clear off any riffraff that are hanging around the nicer sections of town.
Sure.
But you do eventually find a small alley off to the side where the guard hasn't been in maybe a half hour, an hour. They haven't been around that area. And there's an old man that's lying on the ground with a hat, like a beat up old hat next to him. And he's just sitting on the ground, actually not lying. He's sitting on the ground, but his head is like on his knees, and he's just looking straight into his legs basically, and seems quite oblivious to the world.
Is his hat turned upside down?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I drop a gold piece in there.
Which is substantial.
Yeah.
That's not a small alm at all. It's quite big. Let me make a quick roll for him. He doesn't hear it clink because there's nothing else in the hat. It hits with a velvety softness that doesn't stir him.
Okay. Well, I throw some change in there. Copper, silver, whatever.
Okay.
So it makes some noise.
His head lifts up. His eyes don't seem to be focusing very well. And he reaches over towards his hat, almost like he has to feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
And he like grabs the coins in his hat and he feels them with his hand. And he picks up a copper, which is known as a copper fellow. He picks up a copper fellow and puts it into a pocket. He picks up another copper fellow and puts it into a pocket. And then his hands feel the outline of the gold prayer, as they're known. Prayers, if there's more than one, but a prayer is singular, is the name of the gold pieces. And he gets a gold prayer. And in a very guttural voice, he says, "Thanks so much. Your generosity is a shining light to Amira. Thank you. Thank you so much." But he's not really looking at you. He's staring at the other side of the alley with his unfocused eyes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good luck to you, sir. And I start heading back slowly.
All right. As you're heading back towards the Drunken Scholar, you see out to the north, out past the Chaste River, into the lands leading towards the Mithril Vale and towards its town of Oath further on. You see a multitude of campfires glowing in the night sky. Even from a distance, which you're probably a good mile away, you could see these fires burning into the night sky, and you know in your heart that those are refugees from Essentia that are camping outside of the gates of Temerity. The High Exarch has not allowed them in. He's having the church help as best they can with food and shelter, but they're having to live outside of the city confines because there's just so many of them. And that kind of catches your eye as you're walking back. And when you get back, there's a different set of people on the balcony, and you make your way back into the bar.
Yeah, I make a mental note to see maybe I can get some bulky food wholesale and add to their stores
For the
across the river.
For the refugees?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You make your way back into the bar, and I think we'll take a break, and then we'll go on from there.
Thank you for listening to Knights of the Night Actual Play Podcast. If you'd like to send us a question, comment, or feedback, you can reach us in a number of ways, including Twitter at KOTN_podcast or by emailing us at feedback@KOTNpodcast.com. And don't forget the iTunes reviews. We also have a Facebook page which can be found at facebook.com/KOTN.podcast. While on Facebook, you can join like-minded folks at our fan page at facebook.com/groups/KOTN-fan. And lastly, there's our blog at KOTNpodcast.com, where there's an Amazon link on the right-hand side for those of you who'd like a more steady way to help us pay the bills. Or if you live outside the U.S., you can help by donating to our Patreon page at patreon.com/KOTN. And please remember to join us next week for more mystery and adventure.
So how, just out of curiosity, looking at my character sheet here, if I want, oh, there it is. If I want to do a strength roll. Okay. Oh, I burned a natural 20.
Dude!
God damn it.
I skip that and I go punch him right in the face.
Would you say you already rolled your roll for him?
I was just testing. Oh, I see what you mean. No, that wouldn't be fair.
My knee was against the desk. I may have been vibrating it while I breathed.
Well, stop breathing, Thomas.
You clearly have an idea.
That makes a noise, right?
How this?
Oh, that definitely makes a noise, yeah.
For sure.
That's the cord of my headphones.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah.
I don't
know that you have a map for this city, Uncle Scott, but you clearly have an idea of how it works with stacks and marbled in the quarter and whatnot.
Yes. I don't have a map yet because I'm going to be sending you out of the city, so I didn't. Yeah. There might be a time when obviously there'll be a time when you get back to the city. So I might actually.
We might have a map.
Invest in one, yeah.
Okay. I mean to interrupt, but you were talking about Brother Byron.
Brother Byron, right.
Yeah.
Other titles available on the Facebook poll for the episode were A Priest, an Old Man, and a Young Girl Walk into a Bar. This is a night you could just lie to me. Today's a good day to arm wrestle. Arming myself with a handful of books. I have your back, and I assume you have mine. And the next keg is on me.